Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session. In the previous class, we looked into basic DC circuit and what are the different components of a circuit, and we understood what is a current. Current is flow of electrical charge of the electrons, and the electric strength is the rate of flow of the electrons. And we can find the current by knowing what is the amount of charges that flow per unit time second. So I is equal to Q by T. I is equal to N into E. N into E is nothing but the N is number of electrons, and E is the electric charge on single electron, that is constant, which is 1.6 into 10 raised to 19, 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So Ne divided by T. So we can represent in that terms also. And we looked into electrical potential. What is the electrical potential? It is the capacity of the charged body to do the work in a electrical circuit, that is called as a electrical potential, and it is represented in volts. So electrical potential or voltage, whichever. I told you, you can use these things synonymously: electrical potential, electrical voltage, potential difference, voltage difference, right? All these things can be synonymously used. There is a very for practical reasons you can assume it's almost the same. So electrical potential is equal to work done divided by the charge, W divided by Q, represented in volt. And potential difference, if we have two electrical charged bodies, the difference of their potential is called as a potential difference. So we have an example: electrical body A charged to 5 volt potential, and electrical body B which is charged to 3 volt. So what is the potential difference between these two electrical bodies? It is 5 minus 3, that is 2 volts. The unit remains the same. Volts is the unit. And we have to understand uh, when the electrical current will flow, whenever there is a potential difference. This is very, very important. When there is a potential difference, then only the electricity will flow. And which direction the electricity will flow? It will flow from the higher potential to lower potential. If I connect these two bodies, definitely there exists a potential difference. How much is the potential difference? VAB is equal to 5 minus 3, that is 2 volt. And so since there is a potential difference, current will flow. And which direction the current will flow? From higher potential to lower potential. That is the conventional direction of the current. Then we looked into electromotive force. What is the electromotive force? It is the force which makes the current to flow in a circuit, which tends to circulate the current in an electrical circuit. So any battery sources, for example, you have dry batteries, or you have alkaline batteries, any kind of batteries, they can be the examples of a electromotive force. So whenever you connect those in a circuit, they will make current to flow. If there is a closed path, they will make the current to flow. And the unit for electromotive force is also volt. And how much current will depend? It depends on the what is the voltage applied, what is the resistance. Then we understood what is a resistance. Resistance is nothing but the opposition to the flow of the current in a particular circuit, that is called as a resistance. And there are materials with a very good resistance, there are material with a very low resistance. A material having very high resistance are called as an insulator. Materials having very less resistance for the flow of the electrons is called as a conductors. And we also understood the resistance of a material depends on certain aspects. It depends on the length, it depends on the area of cross section, it depends on the what type of the nature of the material we have, and it also depends on the temperature. For a given temperature, we can have this relation: R is directly proportional to L divided by A, or R is equal to rho L by A, where rho is the specific resistance or the resistivity. Resistivity is a constant for a particular material. Now, Ohm's law. Ohm's law is the one, he is the scientist, German scientist, who found out the relation between the voltage, current, and the resistance in a DC circuit. So, Ohm's law statement goes as the first very thing, the important thing is Ohm's law holds good at only constant temperature. Whatever the relation we are talking, Ohm's law gives the relation between the voltage, current, and the resistance. That relation holds good only when we are measuring at a constant temperature. If temperature is changing, then Ohm's law doesn't hold good. Okay, so that's why Ohm's law, the statement goes like this. It states that at constant temperature, the current flowing through any conductor is directly proportional to the voltage between the two ends of the conductor. Means what? The amount of current that is flowing through a particular conductor is directly proportional to how much voltage you have applied across the its terminals. So whatever the two ends we are talking, how much voltage difference is there. Okay, if the voltage difference is more, the amount of current flowing will be more. So that's why we can write the mathematical equation. The current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the voltage across the particular conductor. You can say voltage or the voltage difference, so whichever the terminology that you can use. So we have to say I is directly proportional to V. You have to remember that. You remember this relation, this mathematical relation, I proportional to V. That is the Ohm's law. Okay, if you remember this particular formula, then you will remember the Ohm's law. So if you remember this, I proportional to V, you start with the Ohm's law states that at constant temperature, current flowing in a conductor is directly proportional to the voltage that is applied across its ends. That's it. Okay. So since I is directly proportional to V, we can also say V directly proportional to I. One common mistake in the exam, when we are writing, people tend to state this one: the voltage across a conductor is directly proportional to the current flowing through. This is not the Ohm's law. Ohm's law is I proportional to V. You remember this one, but when you are getting the actual equation, you change the relation V directly proportional to I, and to remove the proportionality, we introduce the constant V is equal to IR. So R is the constant, which is nothing but a resistance. So the relation between the voltage applied across a conductor, the amount of current flowing through that conductor, and resistance of that conductor is given by this relation V is equal to IR. This is voltage. V is the voltage across conductor, I is the current that is flowing in the conductor, and R is the resistance of the conductor. So then with applying the Ohm's law for a simple circuit, we have a resistor connected to an voltage source, EMF source, having a voltage of E. So it will make the current, electromotive force will make the current to flow. And what is the direction of the current? From positive plate, the current will go, it goes through the resistance, comes back to the negative plate. So if we apply Ohm's law here, we can apply to this particular resistor. So what is the voltage across the resistor? V is the voltage across the resistor, I is the current flowing through the resistor, and R is the resistance of this particular resistor. So if we apply Ohm's law, we get it as V is equal to I into R. Or we can say I is equal to V divided by R. Or R is equal to V divided by I. These are just the different flavors of the same V is equal to IR formula. If you represent the voltage and the current, that if you conduct an experiment and slowly you increase the voltage and find the corresponding current, then if you draw the line, okay, if you plot all those points, okay, you will for particular voltage you will find what is the current, and you will increase the voltage, you will find the current. If you draw all those points on a graph, so you will get a straight line, and that straight line, the slope of that straight line is representative of the resistance. So R is equal to VI. R is nothing but the slope of this particular line, and it passes through the center. Voltage, current is zero. If you don't apply any voltage, the amount of current that flows is zero. Next, we understood what is current, what is potential, and what is Ohm's law. Now we will understand the electric power. So before we proceed to what is electric power, let us understand the meaning of the power, or you can give an example which represents a power. Anybody? What do you think power is? More power, less power? Okay, I will give one example. In let us say there is a one work. What is that work? Work is to dig, let's say 10 feet. Okay, to make a we have to dig some area, like maybe like 2 feet by 2 feet, and we have to dig like 5 feet. And we will tell that work to one adult, and also we will tell that work to one kid. Okay, and whom do you think will finish the work faster, the adult or the kid? Hello, are you following the example? So certain work needs to be done. So we are asking one kid and one adult to dig the soil, let's say 2 feet by 2 feet. They have to dig for 5 feet. So if they start at the same time, who will finish the work first, the adult or the kid? Right,
Adult.
adult. Why?
Adult.
Adult.
Why adult? What is the reason adult is able to finish the work? Okay, if I bring the JCB, what happens? Let's say adult,
Digging.
huh? More power, correct. So the question here is the power. So the power, if you have more power, the work remains the same, right? For the kid and for the adult, or for the JCB, the work is exactly the same. They have to dig 2 feet by 2 feet and 5 feet. Okay, so capacity to do work, actually little bit okay, capacity to do the work is a potential. We already saw that. Okay, so here the what comes is, when we have a adult, that work maybe adult will finish in, let's say, 3 hours. Maybe kid will take more than that, right? Maybe 5 hours it will take. JCB, maybe it will take 15 minutes, right? The rate of doing work is more when you have more power. JCB has more power, so the rate at which it will do the work is much higher. So the electric power is also the exactly same. Capacity to do work is called as a potential, and rate at which the work is done in an electric circuit is called as its electric power. And another example of a electric power, suppose you have 1 HP motor or the pump, and you want to pump the water from underground tank to the overhead tank. So if you have 1 HP motor, maybe it will take about 30 minutes to fill the tank, overhead tank. If I, instead of using 1 horsepower motor, if I use 2 horsepower motor, so the rate at which it will do the work is higher. So it will finish the same work in 15 minutes. If I bring the 5 HP motor, right, it will even do it maybe in 5 minutes. So the as the power increases, the rate at which the work is done will be higher. Another example is, like, you have LED bulbs at home. They have different ratings, right? Some are like 7 watts, some are 9 watts, some are 12 watt, some are 15 watt. If you put 7 watt and if you put 15 watt LED, the amount of work, the amount of light, the illumination given by the 15 watt LED will be much higher than the 7 watt. So what is electric power? Electric power is the rate at which work is done in an electric circuit is called as a electric power. More the power, the work will be done at a faster rate. So that is why we call it rate at which work is done. So how to represent with a mathematical equation? Electrical power is equal to work done in a electricity divided by time, because power is rate of doing work. Now, if we consider an example, this example, we have a resistor and current I is flowing through that, and at its ends, the nodes A and B, we have a potential or the voltage applied, that is V. If we have this particular circuit, then the power, electric power represented with a capital P. Okay, potential can be represented with a V, capital V or capital E, and all in DC circuit we represent all the elements using the capital letter. Okay, the capital I means the direct current, capital V means direct voltage, so capital P means it's a power. Power is equal to work divided by T, and already we know potential or the V is equal to work divided by the Q. Okay, Q is nothing but the electric charge. Therefore, work is equal to potential or voltage into the charge Q. And we know that the current, the strength of the current is, it is the flow of electric charge. I is equal to Q divided by T. Therefore, Q is equal to, if I take T on the other side, Q is equal to I into T. If I replace this Q value in this equation, work will be V into I into T. So work is equal to V into I into T. So I will replace this work with V into I into T. So therefore power is equal to V into I into T divided by T. The time gets cancelled. What remains is the P is equal to V into I. So how to measure power in an electrical circuit? Let me go to the previous slide. So here the voltage across this resistor is V and the current flowing is I. How much power is consumed in this particular resistor is voltage into current. So power is always given by the product of V voltage and the I current. P is equal to VI, and power is measured in terms of watts. That is the unit. Now we know the relation between V, I and R from Ohm's law. V is equal to I into R. Suppose if I replace the value of V or I from the Ohm's law, from Ohm's law, what? V is equal to IR. If I represent this V as IR, then I get the flavor I square R. So power can also be represented as P is equal to I square R. And if I represent I, so from Ohm's law, what is I? I is equal to V divided by R. If I represent this as V divided by R, P is equal to V square by R. So the power can be represented in three forms. P is equal to V into I, P is equal to I square R, P is equal to V square by R. So why we need to understand these different forms? If you remember, P is equal to VI and Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, that is sufficient. In some examples, they give the current and resistance. In that case, you can use this formula. In some problems, there is voltage and resistance is given. You can use this format. In some problem, it will be voltage and current is given. Then you can use this formula. But if you remember the basic Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, and power P is equal to VI, that is sufficient. This forms can be easily derived. Now next is electrical energy. So we understood what is electrical power. Now what is the electrical energy? Electrical energy is nothing but the total work done. Capacity to do the work is electrical potential. The rate at which the work will be done, electrical power. The total amount of work that is done is called as a energy. So electrical energy, total work done in an electrical circuit is called as a energy. And electrical energy is given as electrical power into time. So energy is equal to, what is electrical power? There are three forms. We can represent the power: Vi, I square R, V square by R. So therefore energy is equal to V into I into T, or is equal to I square R into T, or is equal to V square by R into T, where T is the time taken. If you have seen the electrical meter board in your house, in your meter board you will see some. It depends on what kind when you got the connection. There will be a energy meter will be there. So what is the energy meter? Energy meter is the one which will captures how much energy, electrical energy you are consuming in your house. Suppose and this electrical energy, whatever the unit you call for your electrical energy, if you have seen the electrical bill, so number of units will be represented, how many units you have consumed. That one unit is representative of a kilowatt hour. So what is the meaning of kilowatt hour? You are using 1 kilowatt of power for 1 hour. So that is, that energy will become 1 kilowatt hour, or kWh. Or just you can, if it is a very smaller requirement, then you can represent as so. What is the energy consumed in your house? In your house, you have lot of electrical equipments. You have a TV, you have fan, you have refrigerator, you have washing machine. And if you see behind all those equipments, you will see the rating of that particular equipment. In that rating, they will tell you what is the voltage it is designed for and what is the power. So the power will be represented in terms of a watt or kilowatt. Suppose you have washing machine, maybe it is 1000 watt. It will consume 1000 watt. When you start running your electrical machine, it will start consuming 1000 watt. And let us say you run that particular washing machine for 1 hour, means its power is how much? 1000 watt into 1 hour. So it has consumed 1 kilowatt hour. That is the energy that is consumed. So that is what this will read. So as and when you put the load inside your house, it will start ticking. So it will start counting how much energy you are using inside your house. um, as the load inside your house is more, means you have switched on all the lights, all the fans, all the equipments, the maximum energy will be consumed. So you will see, if there is a disk, most of the houses will have a digital one. But if you have this earlier energy meter, if this there is a disk here, aluminum disk, you will be seeing that it is rotating with a higher speed, means the meter is running, means more energy is getting consumed. When you switch off all the loads inside your house, the power consumed is zero, the energy consumed is zero, so then it will not move. So I hope all of you have the calci. Make sure if you don't have the calci, you need a scientific calci for almost all the classes. We will be having the problems. We are going to solve the problems. For that, you need a calci, and always you have a separate book for the basic electrical engineering to make all the notes, and also you note down all these problems and their solutions. Okay. So the first problem, these are the problems based on the Ohm's law and the power and energy. So for whatever we have seen, the first problem, a resistor of 50 ohm has a potential difference of 100 volt DC across it for 1 hour. Calculate the power and the energy. Please, can you do the calculation? I want answers. I have a resistor 50 ohm. So value of the R is 50 ohm, and potential difference or the voltage across that particular resistor is 100 volt. So we know R, we know V. What you have to calculate, and also we know that it is applied for 1 hour. You have to find the power. What is the equation of the power? What is the equation of the power? voltage into current, right? V into I. And what are the other forms of the power? I square R or V square divided by R. So we have 100 volt, V is given, R is given. So P is equal to V square divided by R. So how much is the power? Anybody? I want answers. Just don't be just listening to this particular class. You have to work out the problems. I told you 50% would be theory and 50% would be problems. What is the power consumed? 200.
200 watts.
Watts, correct. Units, very good. 200 watts. So what would be the power? Power is, sorry, 200 watt. And what would be the energy? Energy is equal to power into time, or energy is equal to V into I into time, or energy is equal to I square R into T, or energy is equal to V square by R into T. What is the energy? 1200 kilowatt hour. 60 into 200. See, when you make it as 1 hour as 60, correct? It would become seconds. You can choose to represent power as a watt, watt hour, watt second, or kilowatt hour. Okay, so here it is represented as joules. That is fine. This joules is also fine, or you can represent it as uh, uh, t here. 1 hour is there, so 60 minutes, 3600 seconds. Power is 200 watt, and energy p into time. So this p you can represent it as a hour. So if it is 1 hour, 200 into 1 hour, then it would be 200 watt hour. Okay, or you can represent, if you want to represent it as a kilowatt hour, then you have to divide it by 1000. That would be become 0.2 kilowatt hour. Here it is represented as a watt seconds or the joules. That is 200 into 3600. This much would be the energy. So whenever you are writing the answer, you have to specify what is the unit. If you write the answer as energy is equal to 200 watt hour, that is correct. If you represent it as 200 kilowatt hour divided by 1000, that is 0.2 kilowatt hour, that is also correct. And if you represent it this as a 720,000, because you are representing it as a joules or the watt seconds, that is also correct. Okay, that is okay. Next problem. A heating element supplies 300 kilojoules in 50 minutes. Find the potential difference across the element when the current is 2 amperes. Note down the problem. A heating element supplies 300 kilojoules. Okay, that is work. In 50 minutes, find the potential across the element when current is 2 amperes. So whatever the formulas you have learned so far, if you apply those, so from DC circuits, basically you can think about whatever the relation we have studied so far. V is equal to IR and other flavors. P is equal to VI and other flavors. And energy is equal to power into time. Those formulas are sufficient. You need not remember the other formulas. Okay, where we have V is equal to potential area is equal to work divided by Q. This particular example, uses that particular formula. If you remember that particular formula, it is good. So here just work they have given in terms of the work 300 kilojoules. You convert that into joules, that is 300 into 10 raised to 3 joules, and time you convert it into seconds, that is 50 into 60. So 60, that is seconds, that is 3000 seconds, and current is given. We have to find the potential difference. Here we have to use this particular formula to find what is the voltage, where V is equal to work divided by charge, and the charge, we know the current, and we know the how much time that particular current is flowing. I is equal to Q divided by T, or Q is equal to I into T, that is 2 into 2 amperes into 3000, so 6000 coulombs. If you substitute those values, 300 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 6000, you get it as 50 volt. Yeah, this, if you remember, this is well and good. If question paper is little difficult, maybe you will get questions like this. Otherwise, whatever the relations we have seen, that should be fine. Okay, next problem. You should be able to solve this problem based on whatever the formulas we have studied so far. V is equal to IR, P is equal to VI, and energy is equal to VIT. How many kilowatts will be required? So how many kilowatts will be required means what? What is the power to light a factory in which there are 250 lamps, each lamp taking 1.3 amperes at 230 volts are used. So what is the question? We have a factory and we want to find what is the total kilowatt that is required to light that particular factory, and how many lamps are there? 250 lamps are there, and each lamp power requirement, that is each lamp is taking 1.3 amperes current, and when applied voltage 230 volts. So you have to find total kilowatts. First, try to find what is the wattage, how much watt or the how much power will be consumed by one particular lamp. So one particular lamp current is given, I is equal to 1.3 amperes. For one particular lamp, voltage is given 230. So what would be the power? Power is P is equal to V into I. And there are 250 such lamps are there. Okay. So 299 watt. So power required by one is 230 into 1.3, and that is the power required by one lamp. So power required by 250 lamps is 250 into 1.3 into 230. So I will see whether that answer is correct. Okay, 299. Naveen, Arvind, 299 you got. Actually, that is power required by one lamp is P is equal to VI. For one lamp, 230 into 1.3, 299 watt. Your answer is correct. Very good. Very good. Now, you can choose because they have in the question, if you see here in the question, they did not ask what is the power required for to light a factory. They have told you which units should be used. They are telling use kilowatts. Here, one lamp will take 299 watt. If I want to convert it into kilowatt, you will multiply it by 1000, divide by 1000. 1000 into watt is kilowatt. Then 299 divided by 1000, 0.299 kilowatt. So one lamp consumes 0.299 kilowatt. How many lamps we have in that factory? 250 lamps are there. Therefore, the power consumed by the whole factory is 250 into power consumed by one lamp. That is 250 into 0.299, that is 74.75 kilowatt. Very good. So many of you have done. Lakshmi, okay. Few of you got answer as correct. For example, Shifa, you got as 74,750. You have to convert it into kilowatt. How you will do it? Multiplied by 1000 divided by 1000. 1000 watt is kilowatt. then 74,750 divided by 1000, that is 74.75. I hope everybody understood how to convert a watt into kilowatt. Anybody not clear how to convert it into kilowatt? Just multiply it by 1000 and divided by 1000. So 1000 watt will become kilowatt, kW, and then in the denominator you have 1000. So this you have to divide by 1000. That would be 74.75. Very good. Next, DC circuit. What is a DC circuit? DC circuit is nothing but it is a closed path where we have the one load. In this particular case, we have the bulb, and it is connected with the one electromotive force. Whenever we connect the electromotive force, it forms a closed path, and the current, direct current, will flow, and the direction of the current would be from the positive plate of the EMF source to the negative, through the load to the negative plate of the EMF source. And these loads, whatever the load we are talking about, only kind of a load that we have in case of a DC circuits is a resistor. Anything is a nothing but we can represent it as a resistor. And the circuits can be classified based on how this particular load is connected. So either we can have a series DC circuits, parallel DC circuits, or combination of series and parallel, that is series parallel circuits. So each of these circuits have a different characteristics. We will look into that. First, what is a DC series circuits? When do you say a circuit is connected in series? So the whenever you have resistors, right? In this particular example, we have three resistors, 1, 2, 3. If they are connected end to end, means the one end of the resistor is connected to the next end of the next resistor, its end is connected to the one end of the next resistor, and this complete series combination is connected across a voltage source, then we call it as a series circuit. The DC circuit in which resistances are connected end to end so that there is only one path for the current to flow is called as a DC circuit. So one way to identify a series is the resistors are connected end to end, right? Another way to identify is, suppose if the current flows here, okay, the amount of current, let us say 5 amperes. If 5 amperes current flows through resistor 1, then there is only one path. So same 5 ampere will flow through R2, and same 5 ampere will flow through resistor R3. If the current, amount of current that flows through that resistors is exactly the same, okay, then we say that particular resistors are connected in series. This is very, very important statement. If you don't understand, I will repeat it, because when you connect the, when we get into series parallel combination, we will have series as well as parallel. So how to identify, excuse me, resistors are connected in series? We have to make sure that same amount of current is flowing through them. Once again, I will repeat how to identify resistors are connected in series. R1, R2 are in, R3 are in series or not. Just you assume if current, any current flows through resistor R1, the same current will flow through R2. Why same current will flow here? Because there are no alternate paths are here. There is only one path. Whatever the current comes here has to flow completely here. You can just think this as a pipe. Okay, let us say you have a pipe here, and if you make the water to flow here, the same amount of water will flow here, same amount of water will flow in this resistor and this resistor, okay, and it will come back. So instead of water flow, you can just here assume as a electric charge flow. The electric charge flow is nothing but the current. The same amount of current will flow in these three resistors. That's why those three are connected in series. Now we consider this example. uh, uh, Resistor R1, R2, R3 are connected in series, and this whole complete combination is connected across an voltage source and of voltage V. And when we connect the voltage source, the current that flows in the circuit is I. The current I will flows through this circuit. When current flowing through the resistor R1, it makes a voltage drop of V1 across a resistor R1, and it makes a voltage drop. Voltage drop means what? Ohm's law. If you remember, what is V? V is equal to I into R. So here, what is I? The current that is flowing through this is I into R1. V1 is nothing but I into R1. Here, voltage across the R2 is, the current flowing is same I into R2. V2 is equal to I into R2. Similarly, voltage across resistor R3. The current flowing is same I. V3 is equal to I into R3. So those are the voltage drops across each of the resistors. By Ohm's law, voltage across the various resistances is, we already just now I told, V1 is equal to I into R1, V2 is equal to I into R2, V3 is equal to I into R3. You can notice here the I is exactly same in all the three resistors. And whatever the voltage we applied here, okay, V, this voltage, complete voltage will get dropped across each of these. Suppose if I applied 100 volt, maybe it will get 50 volt here, 25 volt here, 25 volt. All together would be exactly same as what is the voltage we applied. Therefore, V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. So we know that V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. We will replace V1 with this, V2 with this, V3 with this values. What we get? V is equal to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. I is common. I take out the common I. So what I will be left with inside the bracket R1 plus R2 plus R3. Or we can represent V divided by I is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Okay. Now this is the one equation I got. Now let us say I have the same voltage and I connect such a value of resistor RS. I call it as a RS. I'm going to put only one resistance. I'm not going to put a series of resistors. I'm going to put only one resistor. In the earlier example, I said in this example, previous example, let us assume we applied 100 volt and let us say we are getting 5 amperes of current. Now what I will do, I will take 100 volt and I will choose such a resistance where I will get 5 amperes of current. So the same amount of current which was flowing in the this combination, this series combination. So if I choose such a resistor, then if I apply Ohm's law here, I request all of you to join on time. Okay, maybe like if class is at 10:30, try to join sharp at 10:30. Okay, not too early, not too late. If I apply Ohm's law to this new circuit, what I get? V is equal to I into RS, or V by I is equal to RS. This is the same voltage, 100 volt. This is the same current, 5 amperes. Okay, then what I will get? V by I is equal to RS. Now, earlier we had equation 1 and equation 2. So we can compare RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3, because here also it is V by I is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Here V by I is equal to RS. Therefore, what? RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. So what is the meaning of this is, if I have three resistors, okay, let us say for simplicity 20 ohm, 10 ohm and 20 ohm. I have three resistors. If I connect in series, I connect across some voltage source and some certain amount of current will flow. If I, instead of using these three resistors, I used single resistor with value of 20 plus 10 plus 20, that is 50 ohm. If I use a 50 ohm single resistor, it will create the same amount of current. So hence, in case of a series, the equivalent resistance of the series combination is equal to sum of their individual resistances. Hence, when number of resistance are connected in series, the total or the equivalent resistance is equal to sum of the individual resistances. So just you can add up all the resistances, that would be the equivalent resistance. Why we are adding up all the resistances? Because when here we want to simplify the circuit. When we are doing the analysis of the electrical circuit, we want to simplify. How to simplify this? Instead of having 3 resistors, I can have only 1 resistor. What would be value of that resistor? R1 plus R2 plus R3. So that is how we can simplify. If you find any resistors that are in series, just add them and put it as one resistor. So what are the different characteristics of series circuit? First thing is current in each resistor is the same. This is the most important character. Whenever we have resistors connected in series, the current would be exactly the same in all the resistors. The total resistance in the circuit is equal to sum of the individual resistances. Meaning what? The RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. And total power dissipated in the circuit is equal to the sum of the powers dissipated in individual resistances. Excuse me. What would be the total power dissipated or consumed in the circuit? It would be sum of the powers consumed in the individual resistances. So total power consumed in the circuit is total power consumed in the R1 total plus total power consumed in R2 plus total consumed power in R3. So with simple equation, we already know RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Just multiply on the both side I square with I square. So I square into RS, Y square into RS, we already know this is the power equation. And what is this? RS is the equivalent resistance of the circuit. So I square RS is nothing but the power consumed in the circuit is equal to I square R1 power consumed in resistor R1 plus I square R2 power consumed in the resistor R2 plus I2 square I square R3 which is power consumed in the resistor R3, or we can say P is equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3, where P1, P2, P3 are the power consumed in resistor R1, R2 and R3. Next, the total voltage of the circuit is equal to the sum of the potential differences or voltage across each resistor. RS is equal to, we already know, RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. You just multiplied with the current I on both the side. I into RS is equal to IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. IRS from Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, right? IRS is nothing but the voltage that is applied to the circuit, that is Vs or the supply voltage, is equal to I into R1 is V1, I into R2 V2, I into R3 V3. And open circuit causes the circuit to be dead or the current flowing will be zero. If there is any open circuit, so suppose this is a series combination, if there is any open circuit means there the connection is open anywhere, then the current will become zero. There will not be any current. The circuit is said to be, it is a dead circuit. We have problems based on uh, this particular concept, that is the series concept. You can note down this particular problem. I will explain. Maybe you can try to solve this problem. Otherwise we will solve it. You can take it as a homework. Otherwise we will solve it in the next class. Two filament lamps A and B takes 0.8 ampere and 0.9 ampere respectively when connected across 110 volt supply. Means we have two filament lamps. So don't worry about whether it's a lamp or heating element. It is just as good as a resistor. Two elements, when they are connected, lamp A connected across 110 volt, it will take 0.8 ampere. Lamp B connected across 110 volt, it will take 0.9 ampere respectively. Now this is the first scenario where you have connected lamp A to 110 volt, it takes 0.8 amperes. Second scenario, lamp B connected to 110 volts, it takes 0.9 ampere current. Now calculate the value of current when they are connected in series across 220 volt supply. Now the next scenario is what? The lamp A and lamp B, they are connected in series and across a 220 volt supply. You have to find what is the current. Assuming the filament resistance remains unaltered, also find voltage across each lamp. So the filament resistance, don't worry about the temperature, just we can assume resistance remains same, and also you have to find the voltage across each of the resistors. So try to solve this particular problem. We will if you are not able to solve, we will solve it in the next class.